I was talking to Ryan about the new movie, Alien Romulus, the latest in the series of movies. Alien, the first one, a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. There are a few movies that they call perfect movies. Back to the Future, it's a perfect movie. I mean, it just flows. There isn't a second of the movie that isn't entertaining and interesting. You're totally committed to the characters. The story is great. It's got little twists and turns in it. So it's just a perfect movie. The sequels to Alien and to Back to the Future, not perfect movies, but very good. Like Back to the Future 2 was fun. It was funny. It was different from the first one. And Aliens was very different than the first one. They call the first one sort of a horror movie in space. In space. A horror movie in space, which it is. It's a monster creeping around trying to get someone. Could have been a spaceship, could have been a house, could have been a boat, could have been anything. It's just a classic horror movie and done very well. And the fact that it was set on a spaceship like that made it even better. The sequel, Aliens, was more a action-packed sci-fi movie. And it was just, fantastic. Again, just a great fucking movie. It's very difficult to make a sequel when you have a perfect first movie. The Godfather and The Godfather 2, you could absolutely say those were fantastic, both of them. Fantastic movies. Some people even put Godfather 2 over the original Godfather. I wouldn't do that, but I put them on the same level. They're just perfect movies. Alien and Aliens they were so different in the genre, or genre, as my friend Joe Curry said, until he was mocked incessantly for saying genre in his 50s. We still goof on him about that. Hi, Joe. How you doing, buddy? So there were such different genres of movie that it's very hard to even compare them and say which one is better or not. The first one was very much, I wouldn't even call it a slow burn because it was very interesting and exciting the whole way through, even the beginning of it. But the suspense angle was amazing in that first one. And then the second one was such a great action-packed movie. Why don't you put her in charge? With Bill Paxton in there was just the greatest, not hacky comic relief, but it was funny. He was a funny guy in it, but it wasn't like goofy, out of place funny. He was kind of just some stupid space marine guy. And it just worked. And bringing Ripley back like that and having her being heroic again, it wasn't like, oh, this again, It was a different movie. So those movies are just fantastic. 3, woo. They really hit a wall with 3. The prison one. I mean, like I said, the difference between the first and second one, they were so different in that way. 3 was very different, but in a way that just didn't make any sense. They're on a planet. It's fucking, a prison. And then it got weird. I don't know. And then 4, I don't know. There was some very entertaining parts of 4. But again, as the continuing story of this, and, at that point, you're just like, all right, with the Ripley thing. All right. I don't even know what's going on. She's cloned, and it just got a little ridiculous. Prometheus, again, just barely touching on the fact that it is part of the Alien universe. It was weird. It was strange. It had some kind of a 2001 kind of cerebral feel to it, with the engineers and all that, and genres. That I just got a thumbs up from Missy on my little costume. And I I liked it as a completely different movie. I didn't look at it like it had anything to do with Alien. And it was good. Yes, Doovie, babe. There you go. Little Doovie. And don't even, like, I won't even acknowledge Alien versus Predator in the Alien universe. Won't acknowledge it. Never happened. Never existed. In my mind, there is one Predator, and that is Joe Biden. Oh, thank you. And it's just the first Predator movie. You ugly motherfucker. Get to the chopper. Like all that shit. That's Predator. And Alien has nothing to do with Predator. And the fact that they put him together was like Jason X, Jason in space. That shit. It just has no place in the universe. This Romulus movie, now they've decided, after I guess people were bitching like, well, Prometheus and shit, they didn't really have it wasn't really like Alien. It didn't feel like Alien. Right? Well, they went full fan fucking service on Romulus. Full fucking fan service. And look, I like a little fan service. I like a nod to the original thing. A slight nod. I don't want a Michael J. Fox convulsion. I want a slight tip of the head. Yep, I see. See what you did there. I don't even want every fan of the movie to even get it. I want some people to go, I don't know what that was. What was that? Oh, that was a little nod to this. This is shoving it down your throat like a face hugger would shove that penis down the person's throat. That's how they were shoving fan service down. They latched onto your face and took the fan service, shoved it down until it burst out of your fucking chest. Too much and too over. There is a fucking, they use literally the same exact lines from Alien. Same lines. Memorable lines. Iconic lines from the movie. That isn't a tip of the hat going, oh, we acknowledge this is a movie. We're paying an homage to the original with this. It's just blatantly shoving fan service in your face by using the same line, and it didn't even make sense. Leave her alone, you bitch. Wasn't that the line? Leave her alone, you bitch. It was Ripley. She's in the big loader, the creature thing, you know, the mechanical loader. And the alien queen is going after little Newt. Newt, my name is Rebecca. No one calls me Rebecca. And when she screams, Ripley. Yeah, it's a great movie. So little Newt is ready to be eaten by this thing. And Ripley comes out, dramatic as fuck in that mechanical fucking loader. Leave her alone. Get away from her. That was it, right? Get away from her, you bitch. The you bitch line. Yeah. Get away from her, you bitch. Let me see. Oh, that's it. Yeah, there it is. You bitch. And it made sense. Ripley has become very maternal at that point. The mother lioness protecting her cub and ready to do battle with anything that is going to harm it. It made sense. In Romulus, a black artificial person that they like to be called, android, whatever, it says it. It says it to an alien that isn't even really attacking him. It's just like, get away from her. And then he goes, there's a big delay, and he goes, you bitch. It made no sense in the movie. It was just blatantly to use the fucking line. And then they bring back Ash. He's a different artificial person. You remember Ash from the first one that had linguine and white clam sauce coming out of his neck. That one. Hey, come down, get some linguine and white clam sauce. It's coming out of Ash's fucking neck. He had an iconic line. You know, you have my sympathies. Yeah. It's like, I can't tell you what your chances are, but you have my sympathies. And it's like an iconic line right before they roast his face or unplug him and then roast his face. For some reason, they felt they had to get Ash, his AI face, put on someone. That made no sense either. And then they have him say that line. Like, why? Why? It was stupid. It was embarrassing. Like, I cringed. Ugh. The beginning of it, I watched Red Letter Media do it, and Mike on Red Letter Media was saying the beginning was really good. He thought it was going to be a good movie, like the first maybe 30 minutes or so. But I don't know. It's a much younger cast. It's like everyone wants to put young people, your early to mid-20s age people in movies. And I get it. You know, it's the movie buying public. They want to see themselves represented or whatever. And they're diverse. You know, there's the Asian girl and this guy and what have you. And I was even able to tuck that away. But then nothing makes sense. They get on a ship. They're able to fly a ship. I don't know. They're supposed to be slaves pretty much to the Yutani Corporation mining a planet. And the mining operation is there you go. Of course, right? Of course. That could be any fucking movie today. Could be any movie. But they're all working on this mining planet for Yutani, Weyland-Yutani. And it's very toxic. People are dying. They're getting brain damage, whatever it is. And after a certain amount of time, you're able to leave the company. But that time never seems to come. They keep making excuses, and you have to keep staying and mining for more years. So these young people decide, hey, they found this derelict vessel orbiting the planet. They sensed it on their sensors, and they know how to fly a ship up there and dock with it, and they're going to try to get the cryo units to freeze themselves so they could go to a planet that's like 90 years away. That's the story. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it, who gives a fuck? So, like, that takes a lot of technical knowledge. And I don't know how much technical knowledge these little slave kids who have been working there since they were children, I don't know how many technical manuals they're giving them to read, aside from just letting them fucking, letting them mine. It's like if a bunch of slaves back in the olden days, the good old days, MAGA, somehow got away from the plantation and grabbed one of the slave ships and tried to sail it back to Africa. Like, how far would they get? It's not like the slave owners giving them books on sailing and navigation and shipbuilding and shit like that. So I looked at that like, this is such fucking nonsense. Takes you out of the whole thing. There were a couple of good scenes. There's like a swarm of face huggers because they've been on this derelict vessel for a while, and I guess there were a lot of eggs that hatched, and even that didn't make sense. And the worst thing, because they're doing this fan service to try to give you this, like, hey, I remember that. I'm a fan of Alien, and I remember that. And it failed miserably. But if you're such a fan that they would put fan service in to that extent, you'd also be a fan that would be wondering, like, hey, why is the girl that gets impregnated by the face hugger with the chest bursting thing, why is it 10 minutes after the thing got on her face, the thing is busting out of her chest? And 10 minutes after that, it's a full-size alien. It was so badly done. None of it adhered to the rules, I guess, that we had seen in the subsequent movies. How were there so many face huggers from so many eggs? I guess they were freezing face huggers. They had froze them And when that thawed out, a bunch of the face huggers like were around, and that's why there was a swarm. But where'd they get all those? And they apparently were only able to get an alien from the wreck of the Nostromo, which was blown up by nuclear bombs, like 4 of them. And they were able to find the alien. Remember the one Ripley shot out with the little spear gun thing? They found that amongst the wreckage of the Nostromo. What? And they took it back, and apparently it had like, what, eggs in it? It wasn't a queen. We had seen that in 2. They're the one that lays eggs. So how do you get a face hugger out of the alien that was on the rescue ship from the Nostromo? None of it made sense. And like I said, you want to make a movie like that, fine. But don't then pound it with fan service and go, wow, the people that saw Alien and really liked it are going to enjoy the references. No, we're not, first of all, because they were ham-handedly done. And we're not going to enjoy that you went so off the rails with the original kind of lore, canon, as the nerds call it. Scola! Well, that's my my take on Alien Romulus. They just can't.